Hello folks, my name is Billy Procida. I've been a principal in the real estate and construction and development business for 40 years. I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about crowdfunding, and I've been seeing a lot of ads on Facebook and already seen a bunch of bankruptcies and fraud cases popping up. I wrote an article a few years back when crowdfunding came out called Crowdfunding: The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Crowdfunding, in effect, is good. The concept was to let smaller investors invest in real estate with groups like ours. The bad is you really can't verify anything. If you're a small investor looking to invest $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, there's no way you're going to spend $50,000 evaluating the investment. The other bad is, frankly, on some of these I've seen, there are people I know who are developers who tout that they won awards. What they left out was they had a lot of bankruptcies. What they left out was they've been sued by their investors extensively. They've defaulted on bank loans. So it is a slight problem when you're a smaller investor to really evaluate these things properly. The ugly is when things do go bad. If you're a $25,000 or $50,000 investor, you're not going to spend $100,000 on a lawyer to try to collect your money. And frankly, by that time, there's probably no money to get. Let me just give you a couple of ideas on how to approach these. Number one, when they say invest now, don't invest now ever. That button that says invest now, to me, is a sucker's button. If you're going to invest, you got to ask a lot of questions. Now, most of these crowdfunding sites I see are a specific deal. If they're pitching you a specific deal, here's some questions you want to ask. Question one: how much does the sponsor or developer have invested? Now you're going to hear them say they have X invested. The question is it cash, or what they'll say is implied equity? i.e., they bought a piece of land for $1 million, got approvals, and now they say it's worth $2 million. So they say they have $1 million of implied equity. Well, the truth of the matter is that's pretty much BS. You want to know how much cash the sponsor or developer has in the deal. There's two types of percentages. If you have a $10 million project and the developer says he has $1 million in, that's truly 10% of the total project. However, what you're going to find when you dig and peel is they'll say we have 10% of the equity. Well, what that means is on a $10 million project, if they're borrowing $6 million or $7 million, so the equity really is $3 million, and they're only putting up 10% of the equity, that's only $300,000. So if they're not putting up 10% of the total project, at least of their own money, and they're looking for you all to put up the rest of the money, I would be suspect. Number two, what are the fees they're charging? So if a developer has $1 million of theoretical cash in the deal, and they're charging $1 million in fees, that means they really have nothing at risk. They're putting up $1 million now, and they're getting back their $1 million before the job's even finished. Next, and the biggest question is, who's their auditor? First, are you audited? If their returns are not audited by a certified public accounting firm, preferably one that's recognized, if they're not audited, just take a pass, because if they're not audited, how do you know what's going on? Next is, who's the project monitor? If the developer says he is or she is, that's not sufficient. You need an independent third-party project monitor. How long have you been in business? Simple question, but dig a little deeper. Who's your team and how long have each of them been with you? Who's your law firm? Who's your architectural firm? Who's the civil engineer? Research. The good thing about the 2022 is this thing called Google. You can research anybody. Even after you get through all that, when you're looking at these sites, they have numbers like 18.67% targeted returns. I've been doing this for 40 plus years. You know, if you're targeting 18, they should say targeting between 16 and 19. But to actually try to induce you by thinking that they're so exact that they can say 18.67 is kind of one of the craziest things, because all I tell you is I try to make 10%. Now, we're a lender, and our returns have ranged over the last decade from 9 all the way up to 15 and a half. Love to talk to you. Look forward to hearing from you. Give us a call.